Finally, okay, we hit a pretty crazy sub goal on Friday. I was not expecting it. First, cheers everybody. Cheers everybody. Thank you for supporting me as usual. Thank you. It is much appreciated. Cheers. A little festival water to celebrate. Here is my first tier list for this game. Official tier list. I can't keep saying this is not a tier list. This is actually a tier list. A few things to talk about. So the characters are not ordered in tiers. This is really, really important. The characters are not ordered. I think the characters are all pretty strong in the context of this game. Probably the main thing between like top and like the characters at the bottom is the classic like, it's not that the characters at the bottom are weak, it's that the characters at the top are just stronger.
Keeper Security is the leading cybersecurity platform for protecting individuals, families, and businesses against password-related cyber attacks. Yep, I'm talking about hackers. These attacks can lead to identity theft, financial loss, and reputational damage. Experts predict too that cybercriminals will increasingly target the gaming industry over the next 3 years. So with Keeper Security, you can create strong, unique passwords, not the old passwords you've been using since high school, special ones for every account you use where you log in, but you can also keep them stored safely in your own encrypted vault. Visit keepersecurity.com/beastcoast and use code BeastCoast, that's in all caps, BeastCoast, for a 30% off promo code. Stay safe out there, my friends.
Okay, so you could tell I'm being serious about it because I'm saying it again. It's not in order. It's just grouped, right? It's just grouped. It's not in order. I mean, Sol is not that much to say that hasn't been said about him already. He has a very strong and stable game plan revolving on strike throw with really, really high return. But he also, the thing that puts him above everyone else is mostly that he just has shit that other characters don't have. So he has like, you know, multiple disjointed moves, clean hit DP that does the same damage as like supers. He's got the SDP that's especially hard to punish on whiff compared to other characters. He's got 3-frame anti-air in 5k. He's got far slash that's plus 10 frames. So it's 10 frames plus 2. FD doesn't do shit to it. He's got a lot of stuff going for him that's just good in the game. So his main reason he's here is just mostly like output and certain tools being like just heavily overtuned compared to other characters. Between like frame data, like he has a safe 5H, relatively safe 5H, where other characters have just straight up punishable ones. His sweep, it used to always be punishable in all other Guilty Gear games. In this game it's -4, 3-frame normal like I mentioned, 9-frame 6H that lets him punish things that other characters don't. Like he's like a normal guy character that's just crazy overtuned. Like I can't even call him a normal guy properly. He actually is a proper Arxis pro tag in that like he's the fucking main character, so he's the best character. We move down to S- now. So these characters are all mad good in my opinion. Like really, really good. You can win tournaments without picking other characters if you play Sol and these characters also. And they have stuff, in my opinion, that does set them apart from the rest of the cast. S-, so Chip, he's incredibly fast, even with his nerfed normals overall compared to prior versions. I think his normals are still mad good. He has the 3-frame button, really good pressure, really good mix-up. His mix-up on block, so a lot of people are like, his mix-up on block is why he's strong. It's very nice that he has mix-up on block, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's like a huge deal. I think there's stuff about the tools that he has that like it's like nuanced stuff. So for example, like the command grab, right? It's nice that he has a command grab, but on top of that too, the command grab grabs DPs. I think like that's the thing that makes it like, it not only can you not see where he's going, but then also it grabs your reversal if you go for reversal, it grabs your backdash if you go for backdash. Like one thing that's really nice about his offense is that from the attacker perspective is like, he generally doesn't have things that you're aiming to straight up punish. Like generally when I'm defending against Chip, I'm just trying to escape or like get him off me, and it's just really hard to shake him off. He has a DP, which is a very good thing in this game. He's highly mobile. Even like his normal weakness, like one of his normal weaknesses that's not just his low life and bad system mechanics. When I say bad system mechanics, I mean like his meter gain's generally not good. He doesn't build meter for moving around the screen. He builds risk faster than other characters. But one of the things that he normally has a problem with is that his jump, he's not fast when he's moving in the air. It's a very important thing to think about when you're fighting Chip. But the way this game is in general, it mostly doesn't matter so much. So I think it's also a pretty big deal. His resource usage is really good also, and like, you know, when he knocks you down, you just can't block. Honestly, only flaws is if you hit him, he's deleted. That's legit. That's legit. Like, his biggest problem is like if you hit him, he gets deleted, like straight up. Then Mei. So Mei is another bruiser. Bruisers you're gonna notice are just really solid in this game. The good things about Mei is that she has a lot of disjointed normals that are very easy to use and lead into pretty anywhere from like meh return, but she gets to keep going, or like really good return and really follow-up situations, which is nice. Yeah, 2S, Far Slash is another one, JD is another one. Dolphin itself is strong. The threat of Dolphin makes people play differently. When a Mei whiffs a button, that's a Dolphin charge. When Mei instant air dashes back, that's a Dolphin charge. When she jumps forward, it's a Dolphin charge. When she backdashes, it's a Dolphin charge. It makes it so you have to play against her differently. On top of that too, she is a bruiser that has a bunch of things that are plus. Soul, his Far Slash is like 2 frame active, and his 5H is like 4 frame active. So there are contexts where you can backdash these moves as a selection, right? But his Close Slash is 6 frame active, plus 3, and Mei has the same thing. And if you get hit by Mei's fucking Close Slash, you are really dead. Like, you can't fucking get hit by her Close Slash airborne, and you can't get hit by Dolphin RC. Like, you can't get hit by meter usage from Mix, all burst safe. It's like the threat of overhead kiss is actually higher than soul grab because she gets a combo of it. Where like wild throw, how much more in the abyss would people be if soul got a combo off wild throw? Because he doesn't get a combo right now he throws you out of the corner. So most of the time people will just do normal grab, right? And the main threat of soul is the risk building. Like, you know, if you pick backdash and he does 5H and you bounce off the walls, shit like that. If he had wild throw combo, we would all be in the abyss for real. This is one thing that's really, really good about Mei, is that she gets a combo. They're pretty burst safe. Her threat of hitting you is so fucking high, even if you have good neutral against her. So her main flaw, I would say, is that her defense is not great. She only has reversal supers. Her play is somewhat linear in the way that like you're making selections. Her return is high, but like you can plan for all the stuff that she does and you'll be fine. And I think she's not as mobile as previous versions, so she gets zoned decently. I think like Leo, from what I've seen, Leo does pretty well against her, Ram does pretty well against her, and like Axel does pretty well. Zato honestly probably does pretty well too, to be honest. Next, Leo. So my opinion has gone up for Leo over time, but for me it's been more about his matchup spread more than like him. Relatively simple character. I don't really want to call him a bruiser type because he actually doesn't have a lot of stuff that's plus compared to his previous version, the Exert, but his potential to mix you up is quite high, and his defense is good. Those are probably like the main things about him, is that his defense is very, very good because he has a flash kick. While it was good in Exert, everyone has faster total duration moves, so it's still kind of hard to use Leo's DP. But in this version, everyone's moves are slower, so it's actually much harder to bait even the fast version of his DP. Mix up again, really, really good, and if you're not prepared for it, he can really maul you. His damage output is really high. His ability to build risk is very high as well. Not like super mobile, but he has good screen control for H Fireball and stuff. For me, like I probably, when the game came out, I probably thought of him as like an A+ character. Just seeing how Leo matchups look as the game has moved on has kind of raised my opinion about him. It takes a lot of preparation to deal with him. Most characters don't have DP, so you can't rely on like cross-up option selects and stuff like that. The game system also benefited him too in some cases. So for example, like the sweep is a really good example. Milia couldn't punish the sweep on block. Basically, like she had to use her 5 frame, which she had 2k 5 frames and 2p 5 frames before. But if you instant blocked it, you could get like a decent punish. But in this game, instant block doesn't change frame data, so if you instant block it, you'll definitely get a punish because you get a throw, but it's just way more difficult to punish that move than before. So yeah, I think he's just in a really good spot. Really good matchup spread, good offense, mad damage, good defense. Then we have Ram. So this is the character that people said was broken in the beta. I mean, I guess there was a version of her that was pretty busted. But she's good in this version. She's good in this version. Disjointed slash and heavy slash covers a lot of screen control. Not so strong in the mid screen, but very strong in the corner. And not only does she have a way to control her knockdown, like she doesn't have to break the wall. If she does choose to break the wall, she actually is very strong with meter, and like she gets to just push her game with meter. Her main issues is that she is not that mobile also, so even though she has like big disjointed buttons, if she whiffs recklessly, then she can get punished by fast characters like Chip. Her defense is not great either, but her reversal super is pretty good. Her damage output is high. She's extremely burst safe, which is very, very, very nice. And in a game where other characters can't move as well as they used to, her having these buttons are very, very helpful. And we move to A tier, A plus tier. So A plus for me, like these characters are all definitely one change from being S tier. This one also isn't ordered, but like there was a time where I basically thought Gio was top 5 straight up. So I think a lot of these characters are either like one change, basically like one change away from being like top tier. These characters are all very strong. Like Milia, for instance, I think if you become a Milia master, you could win tournaments with just her, not counter picking. But like if you run into like the couple of tough ones, like Potemkin or like Chip, you could just get okey-doke. It'd be like that. Characters like Nago and Potemkin, I feel like are a little bit more polarizing, where like their kits are really good, but because of the nature of the character, they get hard countered by stuff. So where like Milia has like a pretty stable matchup spread, other characters have like really strong tools in this tier, but like I feel like they kind of get gatekept by matchups a little bit. I had to think really hard how to make this fair, because in my head, honestly, I think she's S-. Honestly, I'm trying to take my bias out of it and just like, so what is good about Milia? She is the second fastest character on the ground. She's unblockable. Her damage is good considering the type of character that she is. She's very mobile in the air as well. She has bad system mechanic stuff. So what I mean is you don't build a lot of meter for moving forward. Your risk gauge is shit, like straight up. Like her risk gauge builds up really, really fast. And then also like there's certain spots in her pressure where her frame data is not great. So like you kind of have to gamble, but it's like safe bets. The main one that all Milia players run into is 2D. But there's also like 6H to a lower point. Even though 6H is a good normal, like it's not normal you can use on every character, because some characters can like TP, a couple characters get guaranteed throws, blah blah blah. Yeah, so while the 5H is attack level 4, which is really good, it's like minus 12 or something compared to Souls, which is like minus 5. There's a couple of things, and this is why like I personally feel like she's probably like a little bit higher, honestly. So maybe the best thing about Milia, besides speed and like the mix that you guys know, but there's a couple characters that have this, where when Milia spends meter on offense, she gets another chance. So like when a lot of characters spend meter on mix-up, they get one chance for the mix-up with the meter, but Milia gets 2 for most of the things she spends meter for, which is incredibly strong. And also for the people who are talking about like, oh, this character is not as good on PC or blah blah blah, it doesn't matter, because Milia has a fucking instant overhead. So it doesn't matter what, you can play on PS5, you can play on fucking PS2, right? You just can't fucking block Bad Moon, you can't fuzzy the fucking disc left right. All in all, like she's good. She has a couple of system stuff. Her matchup spread is good. I really feel like she's kind of like S-, but I'm kind of like taking my bias out of it a little bit. Then Nagoriyuki. Nagoriyuki is an interesting one. My dude's been on the come up. Some people think he's like top 3. A lot of people think he's S tier. I think he's strong. I think his game is really built by blood. It helps him and hurts him at the same time. He's also like not very mobile, and while he does have really good normals, and he's got stuff like his normals changing, probably like the one thing that is like the higher his blood level is, the more his normals get buffed. He's decently mobile. He's got Beyblade. In my head, like it's just like I think his defense is bad. He's not very mobile. There's like a lot of places where you can kind of checkmate him, like a little bit. You know, like when Milia knocks him down, what can he do? When Eddie knocks him down in the corner, what can he do? That type of thing. But I am gonna keep an eye on him. As far as the matchup spread, I'm not like super knowledgeable on it. Besides, I know there's some Soul players who don't like versus Nago. I know there are Leo players don't like versus Nago. I imagine like versus Potemkin, Nago versus Potemkin is annoying for Potemkin and things like that. So I gotta just see. I do think if they change him a pinch, it would be really easy for me to call him like clear S tier though. Clear top tier. But he's strong. He's certainly strong. Then we have Potemkin, the character that apparently I want to nerf. Come on, guys. I specifically said for Potemkin, I'm sorry that he's in the crossfire, but he has the mechanic I dislike the most, which is Guard Crush. Potemkin is really good in this game. He's really, really good. Of course, he has matchup problems because, you know, he has the usual, he's not very mobile. The thing about Potemkin this version, and the real heavy part of why I rate him here, is that he has pretty easy access to his win condition and Garuda Impact to stack on it. Garuda Impact, I just gotta say it, that move is fucking cat. And every guard crush move, May's charge 6H, Soul's Fafnir, Leo's back turn thing, Garuda Impact, like all like these meterless guard crushes are like mad plus meme shit. So what do I mean by it's easy for him to access his win condition? Basically, if you get hit by anything ish from sweep range or a little bit farther back, Potemkin is in your face. Garuda Impact, for a quick review, and Guard Crush in general, is a move that takes away all of the defender's options. Deadass. All you can do is block or burst. That's it. All FD does is remove chip. It doesn't affect frame data. It doesn't affect pushback. When he does it on knockdown, there's nothing you can do. You have to hold that. He can space it away from reversals. Again, and this is why I'm actually going to come at some of the people who commented on my last video about Guard Crush. You guys are fucking greedy. I hope you understand that. I hope you understand you are greedy. I just want you to understand you are really, really greedy, saying that he absolutely need this. He is already in his fucking win condition, and 4 characters have DPs. 4 characters have DPs in this game. And you're gonna fucking sit here and cry about you worked hard. A random sweep into Hammerfall into Garuda is working hard for your fucking approach. You can get the fuck out of my face with that nonsense, bro. That, just understand that 4 characters in this game have DP, and your fucking close slash is +4. You better fucking love Milia if you like Garuda Impact. You better love Milia. Milia characters can't do stuff except they can. They can't do stuff because of the build. It's not like Disc literally makes it so the opponent can't input anything. You better be here for fucking when they add 25 meter options to this game and Pretty Maze comes back and niggas can't do anything. You better be here for Pretty Maze, bro. If you're here for Garuda Impact, you gotta be in this shit. Guard Crush is nonsense. I don't really hate on grapplers. I'm cool with Potemkin. Like, deadass. The move could just be +19 and I would be cool. It's the fact that you can't do anything when you block it that bothers me. And it's too accessible. And Spin State was a fucking meme in Persona. And that shit, at least you couldn't do it whenever you want. Potemkin's in the crossfire. I don't like Guard Crush in general, right? He just has the biggest violation one. I live with it. It's something that exists. I try to avoid the situation the best I can. When I get hit by sweep, I burst. When I get hit by even slide head from like half screen and he does Hammerfall, I burst. You just can't give him that. Then make him work one more time. But basically when he hits you, I think I showed it in the video about burst, that like Potemkin can do stuff that doesn't do a lot of damage. Like sweep doesn't do a lot of damage. Slide head does 0 damage. But he gets his win condition from there, and he can like 2-touch, 3-touch you, depending on like what he does. So it's really, really scary. His offense is mad good. Specifically in this game too, a lot of characters that he used to have problems with, he doesn't have as much problems as dealing with before, in my opinion. So for example, I got to see more of Faust versus Potemkin, but I think Potemkin has a lot of counterplay from watching against Faust. You know, his 5H is a high counter hit level, which is really good because it's also disjointed. He's got big buttons. Now, flaws. Besides not being mobile, his defense is not the best. So back mega fist is a meme, but his fastest button is 5 frames. And then after that, his next fastest is 8 frames. He is struggling on defense, despite having the good meter gain, good risk, good life. Again, I don't like Guard Crush, but overall, I think he's a pretty fair character. And Giovanna, I thought she was like basically top when she came out. I still think she's really strong. My main thing about her is that she's not very mobile in the air. That's probably like the biggest weakness I see for her. She's got a bunch of other good shit. Like she's got a 4 frame button. Her frame data is amazing. +3 on block close slash, for example. -5, 5H. Her frame data is really good. Her 2D is amazing. Her step dash is amazing, especially with the dash button. She's really fast. Far slash is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, where it's great in that it's super active. It's really important in this game, but it's also super active. So if she whiffs it, she dies, type of thing. Her return is really good. She converts really consistently, which is important. She kind of has to approach characters, so I feel like characters who play defensively or have like armor moves, like, so Potemkin is a weird one because she has Force Slash, but besides that, she has to approach Potemkin, and then of course there's like Axel, and she's not very mobile in the air. Zato would be next. I think he's a pretty interesting character. He's another one where it's more like, I think his matchups probably bother him than other characters. The new way that Eddy works is pretty interesting. You don't get as much usage, but unsummon is OD. You gain the meter back really fast. So there's still a lot of room for development with him. His offense is good. He used to have better set play, and like he'd get like multiple attempts at mix-ups, but in this game he doesn't get that much, but he does a ton of damage. A ton of damage, and for the most part, him going back to neutral is generally okay. It's not the best. Like again, I use Zato versus Axel constantly as an example. Constantly as an example of like a match where you just clearly don't want to go back to neutral, right? Besides that, I think he's on a good path. He has the usual issues of his defense is not good for real. Like he takes a lot of damage. He has 6 frame buttons like Milia, so he's not good at mashing. Or like when he mashes, he has to commit really hard. He has to take a lot of risks on defense to get out. But his offense is good. His neutral is mad good. I think it's just matchups for him. Which brings me to the other side of the coin, Axel, who's a similar. I think he's good, but matchups are a problem. So Axel, I think, really struggles against fast characters. He has. As you guys have seen many times on this stream, I'm 2-touching him with fucking Milia. So, and people say Milia does no damage. I'm 2-touching Axel with Milia. He is the definition of anti-meta. Like, because the thing is, like, his good matchups are so, like, I'm not gonna say they're random, but it really can, like, ruin your day. So, for example, like, Soul players traditionally don't like versus Axel very much, right? Or another one is Leo. Leo versus Axel is definitely like a rough one too. But on the other side, you got to worry about fast characters like Milia and Chip. So playing Axel, I think it's kind of tough life. He controls space really well. I think they ported him to this game in a pretty reasonable and good way. His damage output's mad good. His offense is not great, but you don't pick Axel because he has like sick rush down, you know what I mean? You're mostly trying to just control space and slow down the game, and he does a really good job of doing it in this game. And with the new air dashes too on top of that, it kind of benefits him because it really forces people to move on the ground or like dash jump. Let me repeat, these characters are not bad characters in A-, okay? I'm gonna say it again. These characters are not bad characters. If you want to see some bad characters, I'll fucking show you some bad characters, bro. Now, the problem with characters in A-, and so like, you know, in a normal tier list, you might see like A+ into A or something, right? These, if you told me these are B+ characters, I would also probably give it to you. I wouldn't really want to argue about it. I just tend to believe in the strength and potential of characters, so I think it's too soon for me to be like, these characters are definitely B. So these characters are all good in concept, but I think they just have, so unlike the A+ characters where like, I mean, the A+ characters is kind of back and forth, right? Where like, there's the Milia case where like, one small change and she's like definite top tier. And then there's the other case of like Potemkin, Axel, Zato, where these characters are strong, but they kind of get gatekept by matchups a little bit, from my perspective at least. So the thing about the characters in A- is that they all have like one issue, like an issue that they have to deal with. And it's not about matchups really, where you know, Axel versus a fast character, oops. Potemkin against the zoner, oops. The A- characters / B+ characters all have like some small problem they gotta deal with. The main thing about Kai is that his frame data is kind of sus. He's very punishable in some spots that some characters are really good at punishing compared to other characters. So for Kai, it's like Dire Eclair is one of them, and Stun Edge is another one. Those are probably like, that's probably like his big issue to me, more than anything else. The biggest thing. For the most part, he's supposed to be like a neutral style character where he's controlling the mid-range and stuff. I think he's pretty good at that. Some people will talk about like frame data, but for the most part, like if you compare, like take Milia really only has one normalized plus. There's 6K, it's like 27 frames plus 1. But people don't normally talk about Milia's frame data as a problem. Why? Because she has like delay cancel 5K, close slash into a bajillion options is -2. So like for me, it's not Kai's frame data so much. It's that like there's a case of Dire Eclair where it's like if you don't have meter and they do, you just get punished. And stun edge, where like some characters can just punish that shit way too easily. If they made it just a little bit safer, if they just straight up honestly just change just stun edge a little bit, I think he'd probably be at the A+. Now, some people might mention his DPs, but his DPs have always been like that. I would have been surprised if they gave him a 7-frame DP. This is why I kind of want to see them nerf Soul's DP, SDP, so that's more punishable, because it was always that Soul had faster DPs, and then Kai's was slower, but it was bigger, hits behind, blah, blah, blah. And it was always easier to OS Kai's DPs than Soul's, but at least you could just kill them both. It's not a bad DP, actually. It's just slower, that's all. Then we have Ino. So now Ino, I think they were really scared of her being too good, because it looks like they super went the safe way with her. Now, at her best, she's a very explosive character. At her worst, she's a pretty linear character that has problems getting in. The main thing about Ino is she is, to say it in like an easily digestible like 1 or 2 sentences, she's an S tier character when she has meter, and she's an A- tier character when she doesn't have meter. When she has meter, now you gotta worry about random dashes into supers and neutral. Okay, her super is a guard crush. That's not a guard crush. That is a guard crush. Okay, I keep hearing mixed things about how the super works. But even if you defend her mix-up and she goes into the super, then she gets another super. So she's like, another mix-up. So she's like Milia in that way. And she does have loopable set play as well, which is pretty good. Now, her issues, she is very, very direct with her movement compared to other Guilty Gear games. She doesn't have like, but in Exert, she had like the dives, she had ACL, VCL, she had FDC, she had a bunch of shit to vary her air options. Where in this game, she doesn't really have that. Like the dives are so good, and the stroke's so good. ACL is like the definition of I. So like she has to preempt a lot in a game where everything is slower than before, which can make some matchups really, really hard. Not to mention that she gets zoned, so like Ram, Axel, like things like that are gonna be a struggle for her too. And the fact that she has to move that in such a linear fashion makes it so that there are spots where people can just pull up and they'll be like, well, Ino's either gonna stroke or jump or block, and I got this button that beats all three. That's Milia versus Ino, for example. Like there are spots where if I get into close slash range, my close slash beats Ino everything. Super, super polarizing character. Where like at her highs, she's super high, and at her lows, you're just like, what the fuck? Then we have Faust, aka Laust, where to be honest, I low-key wanted to make people mad and say that he's A+, but I do think he has a couple of legitimate issues. But this character is such a potential pick, and I think they're also like scared of how dominating item throw characters can be. I know I've been putting off trying to discuss the concept of item throw characters in Arx's games. It is a pretty long discussion. I do want to do that. So they keep coming out with shit with him. He's got a couple of stuff, like his damage output is good when he has meter, because all his confirms use PRC. He's got the super into PRC glitch that's like it's like a super DP, so he can do like super to PRC. When he does the PRC, it doesn't use meter for the super, which is pretty helpful. He has an amazing back wall, good normals. The real main reason I thought he was better than people were saying from the beginning, he does not have the same item limitations as before. So in previous versions, a very, 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 very important piece of Faust's counterplay is that when Faust throws certain items, he can't throw items anymore. So for example, when he throws mini Faust, can't throw anything. If you had a lot of life, you'd be like, oh, don't get the food, so you can't throw items. In this version though, he can keep throwing items. So if he gets like a decent one, like meteors for example, he could just fucking keep throwing until he gets something that's good. And now you're like, what the fuck is all this shit on the screen? And Faust is walking away from me. I can't do shit. So that's actually like the main thing that I think is good about Faust. Most people are too used, and I don't throw characters. I came up with Potemkin players. I say Potemkin players are greedy. If you commented on that Guard Crush video saying that it's fine that the defender can't do anything but block or burst, I don't know what to tell you. Now, item throw characters are also super greedy because they are so used to the items that they throw being broken. the character itself to storing the items might have like this flaw or that flaw, but the items themselves are so strong. And then like once the shit is on the screen, the person playing the item through character can just look, confirm the situation, and just do whatever is on the screen. In Faust's case, it's random, so you gotta look at the item when he throws it. But in some characters' case, like Teddy for example, the item throw is set, so you always know what's coming next. Of course, this version of Faust is random, but again, he has situations between when he gold bursts, when he gets certain knockdowns, and then when he just pulls certain items where he's just gonna go, keep doing it. As people keep like getting better at building the situations of items and things like that, like low key by the end of the game, I could see him being like A+ by the end of this version, honestly. And then the last one is Anji. So I think Anji gets a really like bad rap, honestly. This, as a side note, this is a character I know the least about in this version because so many people say that he's so bad that you just don't see people playing him that much, but I've gotten the opportunity to play against him a little bit. I mean more than a little bit at this point. By far, his best thing is damage. He does so much damage. I can't even call him guard points because like when you interact with the move, you can't generally do anything. The biggest things for Anji is like he's pretty committal is one issue, and then essentially Fujin is mostly like a safe block string ender unless you have meter. Then when you have meter, you can kind of push it. But like for the people who are looking for a mix for his character, you're not really gonna get it. He's actually a pretty standard character. He's just frame traps you, has armor to dice roll with in neutral, has pretty big buttons. That's probably like the main thing. The biggest thing about Fujin too is like how punishable it actually is. You know, like it's really risky to use the move without resources. I mean the move follow-up, like the move itself is not like the riskiest thing in the world. Like he actually can position it really easily so that he can exit safely, or even if they have a punish, it's not a punish that will lead to something. I mean other characters have this thing too, so like Millia is a good example. Like my 6H is -8. It's attack level 4 -8. Sometimes I just let that shit rock. My opponent is to be fair to Millia though, I have special cancel options. To be fair, she's got sweep, so it's not like the actual Fujin frame data is a big problem, but like the risk of the follow-ups are pretty high without resource. Pretty high. That's definitely an issue, especially in a game where like, you know, some characters do legitimately have like pretty good safe block stun offense. Like, you know, Mei has poke throw with plus moves, Soul has poke throw with plus moves, Leo back turn, you know, a bunch of his moves stance canceled, R plus, Chip. We don't even got to say you guys just watched that grand finals where I got hit by K Alpha for fucking like 10 for fucking like just get hit by K Alpha like 4 times in a row, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then Goldlewis, he's new, so I don't know. Okay, any questions?